What's up, everybody? It's Tia, and I am back with another video. Today, I want to discuss toxic work environments. So, if you want to watch this, please stay tuned. Okay, so I took the liberty of writing some notes because I wanted to make sure I stayed on track and that I didn't ramble. But as I said before, this video will be about basically toxic work environments, but also toxic people, but it kind of all works together, and we'll talk about that. The first thing of how you know you are in a toxic work environment is abuse of authority. Okay, so I am going to elaborate on this a little bit, and also I feel like I'm going through this currently right now, so it kind of hit a little different. So, abuse of authority. What I mean when I say that is when you are a person with a certain job or a certain job title, or in my case, rank, because we do the rank structure in the military, and the person above you abuses their authority because they can. Them making you do certain things, or, talking you in a condescending way. And like I said, we'll get into that. But just abuse of authority, and they know that they are doing it. And even if they don't know, when you tell them, they're defensive, they get upset, they tell you don't know what you're talking about, and it's just this big ordeal. So abuse of authority is a really big one, and it's something that definitely goes on in the workplace, and especially in the military. Number two, when your superior makes you do things that you do not want to do, that is toxic. So I don't know if you guys have ever heard of this term called like quid pro quo, and it's kind of like this for that. So like, if you do this, I'll give you this. If you do that, I'll give you that. That's toxic, especially if your superior is a man and you're a woman, or your superior is a woman and you're a young man, or they're older or you're younger. Like, it's a different variations to these things. But when they make you do things that they don't want to do, or even if it isn't a like quid pro quo type of situation, but like they make you take out their trash because they told you to do it, you kind of feel obligated to do that in a sense. I can think of an example, plenty of examples. Like, obviously, like I said, I was kind of going through something like this right now at the job I'm at, and I get told to do things all the time that I don't want to do, and that I really don't have to do, but because this person said to do it, it's kind of like you have to, and they kind of make you out to be like a problematic child, basically, in a sense, like you're the problem child. And so it's like sometimes you kind of feel like I don't want to do it because I don't want to be deemed as problematic. But yes, making you do things that they don't want to do, or making you do things because they can make you do it. Toxic. Number three, this has got to be one of my biggest pet peeves, and definitely toxic, and really, honestly, I know this is a little dramatic, but kind of poisonous. And that is when these same people who are abusing their authority act oblivious in front of other people. I hate that. It could be a person who's over me, and there's always a person over them. Everybody has a boss, unless you own something, you have a boss. And even still, if you own something, there's still somebody over you. I'll give you guys an example. In the military, they certain chain of commands will say like, hey, like, let's have a group meeting, okay? And in that group meeting, they'll say, okay, the person who's in charge, the highest ranking person, will say, okay, what's going on in the work environment? What's going on? What are some things you guys want to talk about? What are some things you guys feel like, just they want you to open up the dialogue, right? So then let's say you feel extremely comfortable and you talk about it, and you say, hey, first class or second class said this, or made me do this, or they talked to me in this way. What they're going to do, because they don't want to get in trouble, is deny and apologize, or they're going to act oblivious, like they don't know what you're talking about. Like, well, I didn't tell you to take out the trash because it's you. I told you to take out the trash because you were the closest person to it. And that's an example. No, I actually wasn't closest. This person was closest, and you just didn't want to ask them, and you wanted to ask me. You get what I'm saying? Like, they know what they're doing. They're going to kind of create this narrative that like, no, it's not like that. Like, I wasn't trying to target you, because they know that if they say the truth that yes, I was actually targeting you, they know that they're gonna get in trouble.
You done fucked up, you know that, don't you?
But they know exactly what they're doing, because if you were to treat them or talk to them exactly how they talk to you, it will be an issue. And that's the toxic part about it, because when it comes to me, you say, oh, I don't mean it like that. But then if I do it to you, you feel like it's wrong. So that lets me know you know exactly what you're doing. You know what I mean? You're aware. Number 4, talking to you crazy. This is toxic, especially in the workplace, and it creates a hostile environment that people don't want to be in. In our minds, we think that if a person, like when you think of talking to you crazy, you think of like cursing, screaming at you, belittling you in the most disgusting way. And yes, that is disrespectful, but there's also more subtle ways that someone can talk to you in a condescending way that is still hurtful, right? So I really feel like I should just make this a story time, but it's okay. I'm gonna just talk about it. I have a higher ranking person who is above me, and I have to take attendance with her. I have to check in every day at a certain time, or it's gonna be an issue, right? She called me, and so was basically saying like, I just don't understand why it's taking you forever to contact me. Either way it go, I think I was late a couple days before or whatever. So she called me, she's like, I just don't understand and this and that. And so I told her, I basically pointed out her inconsistencies, and I said, hey, I did not communicate with you today, because when I have communicated with you on these specific days every week in the past, you have not responded, or you responded late. She proceeded to tell me, well, sometimes I don't respond, or sometimes I don't say anything because I just expect you to act on it on your own. So basically, to sum it up, she wants me to read her mind, and then if I don't read her mind, she expects me to F up so she can essentially have something to say and go back to tell everybody else, like, oh, she did this, she did that. You get what I'm saying? It's mind games. It's like, I just don't understand. And so the part how I'm reeling it back in is because she was talking to me crazy. She was like, I just don't understand what's so hard, and and this and that, and like all of this like just negative energy. And so that's why I say, even though it's not as blatant as calling me out my name or cursing at me or things of that nature, it is still belittling. And I also says belittling because if I was a person who was a higher rank than her, she would not speak to me that way. So she speaks to me that way because I'm junior to her, and because she can, and because she knows she's going to get away with it, because nobody else is going to do shit about it, because she's the golden child. Number 5 leads me to my next point of bias treatment. So bias treatment essentially really can be grouped in 2 categories. There's favoritism, and then there's just straight up bias treatment, because it could be your race, it could be your age, it could be your gender, or because they just don't like you. So the bias treatment is basically where you will be held back from certain opportunities because the person who's giving the opportunities does not care for you. So obviously, this has happened to me before. And in the military, they call it reprisal, but there's really no way to prove reprisal, because again, nobody's going to come up and say that. In order to prove reprisal, you would actually kind of have hard facts, and it's kind of hard to prove that, because like I said, like no one is going to write in an email, hey, I'm treating you different because I don't like you. You know what I'm saying? Or in text message or over the phone, and then you would have to record. Like no one does that type of thing. It's kind of one of those things where you just know in your heart like you're getting treated differently, and it makes it more difficult when the people around you act as if they don't know what's going on, or they act like, again, oblivious to it, like, oh, well, I don't know, or they just don't want to be involved. But it's clear different treatment of how they treat you versus how they treat other people. Number 6, and this is my last point, if they are always bothering you about something, it's a toxic environment. I don't care what nobody say, I hate it, it is what it is. To pick on someone on purpose is just beyond me. Like, I really don't understand. And I never experienced it until I joined the military. When you're a civilian, look, you tell a person, look, F you, see you later, and it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's nothing else to say. they always find something to nitpick at. Like, what are you doing? Go take out the trash. Did you do this? Did you, like, nonsense type of things. You don't even have to talk to me about that, but you just want to bother me and you want to get under my skin. And people will intentionally do that. Like I said, I never knew of this sort of thing before I joined the military, but it really is a thing. If someone knows that something triggers you or something bothers you, they will continue to poke and poke and poke and poke until you explode, because they like getting a reaction out of you. And they know that the more they bother you, the more upset you're gonna be, and the more they can kind of get you in a position to do something so they can get you in trouble. I don't understand it. Like I said, we are a bunch of grown people, but it happens. You know, people do that all the time. They do that to me often. I feel like damn near every day I'm picked on about something. So I did not write these down, but these are just some things that I have adopted that has made me feel better. With all those things that I have just discussed that go on, it's important for you to have an outlet. Extremely important. I was in therapy and I plan on going back. I wasn't in therapy solely for work, but it was a big part of it. You have to have someone who you can confide in. I talk to my therapist. When I'm not in therapy, I talk to my mom, I talk to my friends. It's important to have a support system outside of work, because sometimes having it in work, especially when the person who is antagonizing you is affiliated or associated with those other people, it kind of makes it difficult. So having a support system outside of work is actually crucial. You need somebody to talk to, okay? Another thing that I do is I write down my intentions for work and throughout the week. Sometimes I'll just write down everything I want and I'll just say it to myself over and over and over, like, I'm gonna have a great day, I'm gonna have a great day, I'm gonna have a great day. Or I'll just not write it down and I'll just speak it. Or I do both. And also, I think a good thing for that is when it comes to speaking, because maybe sometimes you don't know what you want to say. I'm quick to look up stuff. So I look up affirmations. I got a list of affirmations from my therapist. And what I did was I copied it on Microsoft Word, printed it, and I made it small. And I posted it right there on my AC vent in my car. That way I can see it every morning, every day. And I just say it to myself. And sometimes on my way to work, I say it multiple times. I just keep saying it and keep saying it and keep saying it. It's important for you to speak positivity into your mind, so that way you're not going into work already expecting the worst, even if the worst is already there. First of all, let me just say this. There's a lot of things that you can do, but if you can remove yourself, please remove yourself. At the end of the day, no job, no person, no career choice, nothing is worth your peace and your sanity. Unfortunately for me, that I can't just uproot myself all the time. But even in the military, there are ways to maneuver. I have mentioned that I would like to leave. If it does happen, then great. If it doesn't, then I'm going to continue to do my work to make sure that these people do not penetrate my spirit, because they absolutely do try, and it's very annoying, for lack of better words. But when given the opportunity to remove yourself, remove yourself. Don't look back. Screw these people. They are miserable. They probably hate themselves or their work life, and it's just not worth it. 9 times out of 10, what I've come to the conclusion with is when people treat you a certain way, it's a reflection of how they feel about themselves. Maybe they're lonely. Maybe they're always arguing when they get home. I don't know, and really, I don't really care, because it's really no excuse to treat people like that. But people do what they want to do, and you have to take care of yourself at the end of the day. So if you get the opportunity, peace out, okay? Get that bread and leave. That's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I will see you guys on the next video. I love you guys so much, and yeah.